Right. You are really doing well. Now we are on the last part. Welcome again. Bienvenue encore. Donc, oui, part 3, which is asking basic questions. Les questions simple. So there are three main ways to actually ask yes or no questions in French for beginners. This is just mainly for beginners. And the number one way to ask questions is the easiest way. See, just like in English, where you can turn a statement into a question by just doing what? Raising your voice at the end. That is a very common way of asking a question in spoken French. For instance, you say, you are a boy. You are a boy? You speak French. You speak French? What was the difference? One has a falling tone and the other has a rising tone. So that is what we want to do. We want to raise our tone to ask questions. So the simple statement is vous parlez français. Vous parlez français, that's you speak French. Now you want to change it to vous parlez français, you speak French, so your voice goes up at the end, and that is the logic. Tu es fatigué, that's you're tired. Oh, tu es fatigué, you're tired. But oh, tu es fatigué? Are you tired? Then the person will answer, oui, je suis fatigué. Oh non, je ne suis pas fatigué. You see? Non, je ne suis pas fatigué. Alright. Now, there are more ways to ask questions. I just told you one. This is another one. Using est-ce que. Est-ce que is like, is it that? Actually. So, or did you? Something like that. Now, this is a very common and polite way to ask question. If you are in a formal situation, this is how you ask question. So it works for almost all sentences as well. Est-ce que literally means is it that, but it doesn't really translate like that. It just signals the questions. When inside the question, it doesn't really translate it to is it that, but it's going to signal, reflect that okay, this is a question. Now the structure is that you had est-ce que with your what? With your subject, verb, and rest of the sentence. That means your affirmative, your normal sentence, add est-ce que at the front, and you are good. For instance, est-ce que vous parlez français? Do you speak French? Now you speak French is vous parlez français. Do you now speak French will be est-ce que vous parlez français? So it's more like you're saying, is it that you speak French? Still correct anyways. Another one, est-ce que tu es fatigué? Instead of just saying tu es fatigué is the normal one. But when you say est-ce que tu es fatigué, that means are you tired? You see this one is not really showing either. So this est-ce que is more like it's always invisible when we do our translation. But it's always show that it's a question. So that's how you ask questions in the formal settings. So we have another one. Est-ce qu'il aime le chocolat? Est-ce qu'il aime le chocolat? You see our E has disappeared again because of il. Est-ce qu'il aime le chocolat? Est-ce que nous avons une voiture? Est-ce que nous avons une voiture? So let me just take it slowly. I think the first one I didn't take it slowly for you. Est-ce que vous parlez français? Good. Est-ce que tu es fatigué? Parfait. Est-ce qu'il aime le chocolat? Est-ce qu'il aime le chocolat? Est-ce que nous avons une voiture? So those are the questions. Now the very last way, which is the third way to ask questions. There are other ways actually, but for beginners, basics, how do you ask questions? By inversion. Inversion is that you are flipping the subject and the verb. So this is common in formal speech and writing. So that means you literally invert or switch the subject pronoun and the verb and connect them with an hyphen. So you just do what? Normally it is subject and verb. Put the verb at the front, add an hyphen to join them together to become it's not husband and wife yet because they have not become one. So whatever terminology you want to use for that, I've forgotten. Alright, so we have examples. Parlez-vous français instead of vous parlez. You see now, the vous has come to the back. Then we have an apostrophe. Parlez-vous français? Es-tu fatigué? Aime-t-il le chocolat? Avons-nous une voiture? Good. So you see that the way it is that we now move the subject to the back with an apostrophe, connecting them together. Alright, so that is how this third pattern works for your what? For your question asking. I hope you get that. Now, for beginners, focus on the intonation and SK first. Then inversion can be something you will learn later or when you are much more comfortable. But just make sure you master the inversion as well as the like you just have to like master them, okay? Let's go to the last one, which is your takeaways from this lesson 5. You have learnt your ER verb. Most verb ending in here follows a predictable pattern, so you have to do what? Memorize the pattern. So the pattern is something I've told you: es, eons, ent. Very simple. Then the next is negation, ne pas. So this one is very, very important because what you are doing here is that you are you know we are already taught you just put the verb in between of the no and pa, add the subject, add the rest of the agenda. We're good. Then the last one, which is esque. Okay. All right. So I believe you have actually learned something. Keep practicing by talking about your daily activities using verbs. So try to make negative sentences and practice asking questions. So because the more you interact with these structures, the more natural they become. That you don't need to scratch your head, you don't need to calculate and analyze, you don't need to think before you respond to before you respond to anything pertaining to negation as well as question asking for beginners. All right, so felicitation, congratulations, you actually did well. So we have come to the end of lesson 5. Merci pour votre attention et au revoir, bisous bisous.